Oops. Audio back. Hope Nightbot isn't going to be spamming like that the whole session. I'm not sure I meant for that to happen. Alrighty. Well, I was going to show you it on that one, but AJC. I think this is a pretty nice view of the model. Everything feels comfortable. Glasses on. How's everyone doing? So, I haven't decided what exactly I'm going to do next. Are those too loud? Alright, let's get back to this. So, painting this model so far, I had made some mistakes. Can you see the little divot in the cheek there? There's another one. Over here. Another little one here. When I was priming, I primed it too thick. And there's another one there. So we're not in the greatest shape, and it's kind of, it looks a little bit messy, and we've got a fair bit of gloss. So the idea that I had was that I'd either paint the eyeballs tonight, but I'm not sure if we're really ready for that. The other option is to just continue working on the skin and refine it a bit, but I'm not sure how long that's going to take. And I'm also not sure whether that'll be the most interesting to see me just like trying to refine and fix it. But let's start with some skin and see how that goes. And then if it's not so interesting, please let me know, and then maybe I can do the eyes as well, because that could be quite interesting. And part of the challenge with this will be that I was painting the Minotaur, and then I just used the paint that was left on the palette to do the work on this. So I'm not 100% sure which paints I had, but we'll take a guess at that. It's a bit bright on the palette, I think. Okay, g'day. Oh, that's Ed, if I'm not mistaken, is that right? Okay, so first up we're going to need already, JC. So first we're going to put red ochre, scale artist red ochre. It's a main foundation color of the skin. Yeah, I'm feeling tired too, but I'm kind of hyped to get painting, because I haven't really done any since just before ARC. So this one is burgundy wine red. It's very close to red ochre as well, but it's just that little bit more red, a little bit more purple. I'm going to chuck dark violet in. Yeah, it's pretty comfy. I can't imagine painting out any other way than with this anymore. Now, next up will be one that is unexpected, I think. I'm going to go for Ghost Green, Vallejo game color. I think I'm going to use this yellow. Scale artist. Yellow ink. That'll just be for tonality shifts in the midtones. Not enough. Go. Thanks, Clark. I'm only just guessing what I'm going to need right now, but we'll probably run into other stuff, but I think we're going to go for squig orange as well. Ooh, it's a bit lumpy, chunky. Ooh, lost a palette. It should come back. I don't know why that happens. It's just random. Not that I know of. Not yet. Okay, how are we looking? We need some Lizardman medium. This is just Lizardman medium in a big bottle, watered down, getting low now. So it's about 30% Lizardman medium and then 70% water. Ooh, it looks like my palette might be upside down. Yoink. Alright, okay. And I'm just going to do some of this. Verdigris. I think it's time to start painting. Whoopsie, sorry about that. Now, which paintbrush do I want? I think I'm going to start with this 2.0 from Hair Models. Although it's starting to get a bit natty and maybe a new one might be in order, but we'll see how this goes for this so far. Right, and please try and remind me if I drop it out of camera location. I'm going to try my best to hold it in place. I think that's pretty good. No, that's the other way. Alright, let's focus on this little area here. This, I tell you what, this thing right here is so annoying to like maneuver around when you're painting. It's probably going to make this side more difficult, but we'll go with this. So actually, I will need something else as well. PVA, craft glue, premium. This stuff is pH neutral. Put a dollop on there. Hello, Ginger Bat. Evening for me, but morning. Good morning. Very early, I think, for most of the rest of the world. Need some more audio volume. Let's go with this one. No, this is one. Better? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Don't want it to be too loud, but fantastic. All right. Okay, so let's just start with lime in medium. I'm going to grab some of this ghost green. So something I'm not sure whether people do enough of when they're watching other painters paint is look at how they work the paint on the palette, how much they pick up, how much is on the brush or not when it's coming off. Thanks, Mick Beck. Thanks for popping in. All right, so I'm gonna just pop some paint on. It'll be for smoothing out some of those problem areas, but I'm really not sure when I'm going to need that or not. But when I want it, I'm going to want it on the palette. Might not even get used, but that's making quite a big jump. Hi, Chrissy. Thanks for popping in. So we're really just glazing this in at the moment, but it's going to make the jump bigger than I really want it, in the jump in value, I mean. And while I wait for it to dry, I'll just move on to some of the other areas that I think need a bit of okay, then we'll get some of this. Oops, got way too much ghost green there. Didn't mean that. Ugh. Ooh. Definitely all nerds. Alright. Set up a few little mixes now that I overdid it a bit. That's way too much there. Alright, so we're going to need another paint. This one is Golden Flesh Scale Artist. Ooh, cool. Oops. Followers coming in thick and fast. Can't really keep up and do what I'm doing at the same time. I'll do my best though to keep an eye on things. Alright, so Scale Artist Golden Flesh. Everything that I was putting into this was raising the value but not in the direction that I wanted, so this yellow is just not high enough in value for the kind of work that I wanted right here, so that's looking a bit better. And so now we're going to touch the edges of the area we just painted. Is the video quality clear enough? Can people see what the changes as they're happening on the model? Sweet. And then instantly we get a little bit of dust coming out of the brush, so we'll pick that up with some blue tack. If I can get it to come off. No, I can't. So now we use a second brush. Look at that little nasty. Oh, I've got some good colours here now. Another bit of dust on the model that we use our little friendly bit of blue tack to pick up. Yeah, I must be one of the few people who actually paint like this, but it's the only way to fly. Completely comfortable while painting, no bad posture. And I've got the cameras in just the right place so that people can see, which is good, so it's not that bad for me. Alright, so we're going to go up a little bit more. Now this colour here, you might think it looks completely weird. I mean, it's pretty small on the screen for what I can see, but I hope you can see it better than I can. But when you mix this green with this orange, it goes sort of yellow, and that's the tone that I want for here. Please, if you notice me do anything that you're not sure what I'm doing, please ask. I'm not making any really big moves at the moment because I need to get used to how this different paint is looking as I use it. Seems to be doing okay though. Hi Disco Boy, painting feels good so far. Only just started though. And I'm going to go through and show you guys some of my recent stuff in the last half hour of the stream. So that'll be an hour and 10 minutes from now. We'll work on the skin, maybe find some time to do the eyes. Alright, and we want something a bit darker for the side of the nose. Quite a red looking skin tone here. Yeah, I'll show that on the stream in the last half hour. Should get a good look in with the lights here. It really got overblown by the amount of light like shining through the base, so you really couldn't see the model itself very well. I think I'm just going to move you up a bit. Maybe this way a bit. Okay, so I'm going to move on to this area. Need to establish this before I figure out the blend coming over this way, so I need to put this in a little bit. This brush is not fantastic, it's approaching its end of life. So this area of the skin on a head like this is kind of an amalgamation of all the colours on the entire face. It's a tricky one to get exactly right. I'm going to add a bit of cold into that. Just a bit there too. And while I've got this paint on the brush, put a little bit under here. Not enough. Okay, so the idea for this bust timbo is basically, and for everyone who's watching, I'm going for full-on saturation. So basically it's a wood elf. I want to interpret this bust as a wood elf. I think it makes for a great wood elf. And everything is going to be high saturation choices. So the skin is very high saturation as I can. The hair will be going sort of a reddish orange, very bright. In the end, I want the entire piece to end up feeling extremely bright, extremely saturated. So all the color choices I make will be high chroma versions of it, and I hope that when it comes together, it will look very, very bright on the desk. So have you been able to see that little edge just blend out as I was just touching it there? Yeah. Let's get a bit more paint on the brush. If anyone gets tired of seeing this and wants me to move on to the eyes, then call out, and I will do that at some point, or I'll try. We should maybe start get some votes on what color her eyes should be, because I haven't really decided yet. I was thinking bright green. To try and, if you're here to try and learn and pick up some stuff, watch how I'm moving the brush. Golden eyes. I've done that a few times recently. What about green to yellow? That's just basically squig orange with a little bit of golden flesh scale artist at the moment, so it's just a slightly higher value that's been raised by black eyes. Come on. I'll definitely paint them black to start with, which is what I always do, but they're not going to stay that way. But I appreciate the suggestion. This area here. Paint is a bit too dark. Thanks, D&D Gins. Frog, for the eyes, maybe I'll use a colour that's used elsewhere on the model, but maybe not. So the other colours on the model will be like golds, greens, browns, natural tones to go with a wood elf. But yeah, green might be too similar to the intended colour that I have for her jerkin or her coat. If you've seen this model, I'm planning to have that with be green with sort of gold or yellow accents. Amber might be okay, yeah. I did also think about just doing sort of like a very rich brown as well. I'm glad to hear it's a treat. So now we've got the ghost green and golden flesh mixed together. It's just those two on the brush at the moment. Trying to build up this. Might need the mags. Definitely going to need the mags when I go to the eyes. Can you guys see that change happening? That the subtle difference that happens when you just run the brush with this kind of like half glaze consistency. It just, as it dries with the Lamy and medium, it just sort of like fogs out a little bit. That's a really nice way to make the skin look like it's nice and subsurface scattered. More side nose. Let's get a bit more reddish tone for that. You probably already noticed that I jump around a lot. Not just working on one area all at once, just when I've got a paint on the brush that I see it feels right. Thanks, Kibley. That's old news, Nightbot. I'm probably going to end up changing to Sundays. And we'll see how regularly we end up doing it. I'm going to bring up the value underneath what I'm painting here now. Thanks, Robin. I can see more when I look at my screen, which is a fair way away, than I can with my eyes. I'm thinking about putting my goggles on. How do I define value? Value is the range of darkness in colors which starts from black at 0 and then up to white as 10, but you know, there's a 10 value range is fairly limited, so I've been starting to think of it more as 100 in recent times. So we're really only working in the middle of the value ranges here. We're start with some areas like here. We're starting to pop up into the higher values, but still not above a 7 or an 8 out of 10 yet. Okay, that's better. I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Now I've got to re-figure out. Thanks, Rich. Re-figure out where I'm holding the model with the goggles. Made a mistake. Wipe it out. Yeah, let's try that. Straight squig orange. I don't think about the numbers at all while I'm painting. It's just a way to describe and answer the question. It's more just up and down. I think about up and down. So this area on the side of the nose, so the nostril part needed to go up, but this area on the side of her nose, that value there is pretty much right, but this area still needs to go up a little bit. So I'll bring it up higher than I intend it to end up. Not sure whether I would say that painting is math personally. I mean, it's all instinct to me. Mistake. Let's just fix that a little bit. Yes, well, everything is maths. That's very true. Okay, I'm going to put some straight ghost green on here. And see, I said I was planning at the start to work on this area, and look at how far we've jumped around so far. It's just not my nature to stick in one area. I just can't do it. Yep, I think so too. And when you say that I'm using desaturated colours compared to the areas around it, do you think that it's because they look desaturated on the palette? Because I wouldn't really consider these that desaturated, but it's just that they're not full chroma. Where are those black lines? Can you see those? Where did they come from? I wonder if they came from the brush earlier when that little piece came out. I've got a air filter running behind me that I run on automatic all day long. I have this little bit of blue tack that I sit on my desk just in front of my palette that I can pick up. I also look, so you might not see it, but there's a little dust particle right here, and I'm always looking at the palette and picking up the dust. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but just picked up the dust on the tip of the blue tack. I'm obsessed with dust and I hate it. So you can see the models in my bottom right corner. Let's just quickly go desk cam. The models are covered in plastic bags and cups upside down over here, here. Yeah, so I do believe most of the color on this model so far is just these paints. If I guessed correctly, the appearance of the look comes down to the way they're implemented. Because for a skin tone, I think these are quite saturated paint tones personally. Yeah, we've blocked off my front area from our dog now so that she can't come up here and deposit paint, hair so much in my painting area. What colour did I just pick up? Yep, so saturation is the name of the game on this model, so I have to try and find a way to make a very saturated skin tone work. I think the camera maybe does make it look a little more saturated than it actually is as well though. But I don't have a control for saturation slider on my camera. Only just brightness, and this is the closest to realistic that I could get it. I'm glad to hear that. You guys can probably see more than I can. Well, now that I've got the goggles on, I can see pretty well. This area on the side of her mouth, yeah, that looks no good. Let's rework that now. all the pain. This little bit of damage, it hurts my soul. But I don't think anyone will ever notice but me. I have to go brighter, I think. Let's see what happens when we put some pure golden flesh here. Oh yeah. Getting lost in being too close. That's why it's good to do this. Look at it from arm's length, half arm's length, and then up close again. So what do I notice at arm's length? Yeah, the area that I'm working on still needs work, but it's not, maybe not as bad as I thought it was. That's a personal preference thing, Disco Boy. I personally just prefer to work from the front, the face outwards, so that I can get the balance level of the face right, and then work everything else on the model to balance with the face. I sort of need to see where the face is going to be before I end up making all of my value choices on the rest of the model. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. And there's a piece of dust. Can I get it? Well, I am going to get it. Oh, nasty, nasty boy. Damaging the paint. Ugh. He's deep. Yuck. Thanks, Keftar, for following. I think Ed might have just followed just before that as well. Yep. Definitely, that's what this bit over here is on the palette. I don't always feel the need to use it though. It just makes things easier. Yeah, making it worse when you try to fix it is just a natural thing that happens. Anything can be fixed. It's just a matter of figuring out how. Whoops, did I just touch the forehead? I think I did. I think my dust brush is pretty problematic. Eek. So I really damaged the side of the nose. I have to fix that now. Just here. You see how it's just peeled away here. Thanks, Austin. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, my big phone. I don't know how people can paint any other way. Let's turn the heater off. It's getting warm. To get some raw golden skin and use it a bit thicker. Thanks, Adam. Welcome. Still early days, but hopefully we can keep them throughout. Let's see how this looks. Believe how quickly the time is flying. What? Yep. Went back to the old original palette. I tried the big one for a long time, but this one just suits me better. I don't change the palette often enough as it is, and this one forces me to change it a little bit more often. And I just like the way this palette just handles the paint. It stays more usable for longer on this. I mean, I can sometimes make it last for weeks. See you, Dan. Thanks for coming along. Thanks, Infernix. Seems to be going well too. Yeah. Gotta love the clumpy looking paint. When you put it on too thickly like that. Yep, which is good, although I can't tell how many. I don't think I've set it up right because I can't see any number or anything on the screen that's facing me. Whoa! 150! Holy cow! Everyone's been so quiet. It's only been like 10 people commenting or talking. I hope everyone's enjoying just watching me paint, because I'm just talking to myself. I'm glad to hear that it's interestingly observable. I wouldn't fight him. I'd get someone else to do the dirty work for me against Dino. Changing my category. Okay, can I do that right now? I don't know how to do it from where I'm. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, I'll have to do that for the next stream. I'll have to get out of my seat to go and do that, so I don't think I can do it right now. Great. I'll keep painting for the next 40 minutes, and then we'll have a look at some recent works. The base to work on question. I'd love to hear where everyone is watching from. And I'd also like to know who saw the ghost boat at Arc Open on the weekend. You got warned, Ed. Might have to mess around with the settings on that Nightbot, because I great to see a bunch of people from the UK, not just Aussies. I'm sure someone will be able to pull up the link. Yeah, Arc went pretty well. It was really cool to see so many great entries. Yep. Yeah, so I was just about to bring up what colour for the eyes. So I asked earlier on if anyone had any suggestion for the eyes, because I haven't fully decided yet. cold green or green to yellow, cold green to yellow, or I do blue eyes too often. It could be suitable, but in this case, I'm just not sure blue is the right choice. Maybe violet. Hair color will be reddish orange, so bright red, bright orange. Okay, let's just do an arm lengthy. Yeah, so this line along here is too dark still. Yeah, maybe I can consider violet. Just not sure about, because the feature color on the jerkin is going to be green and gold, so putting violet with that might be a little bit too much of a clash. Wow, 170. Might move on to the eyes a little bit for the last half an hour, and so this brush is saying goodbye, and this one is saying hello. This one will be a, ooh, the writing is worn off on this, or it was never printed well, but it is a Winsor & Newton Series 7.0 miniature. And so to start off with, we're going to need some new stuff on the palette. Scalars green grey, which is basically black, something that I use as basically black. Pastel green, which is going to be the white of the eye primarily, and then I think yeah, so olive green was an option that I considered. You notice as I was putting the lid back on, this top bit of crud got stuck. It's quite a big bit of crud. Sorry about that. I'll leave that to you, Lee. I eat enough paint just by licking my brushes. Okay, so I think I'm not going to have her eyes straight on. She's going to be looking to the right a little bit. So let's start with that. Alright. Nightbot, I'm gonna mute you again. They're coming up more often than I think I intended. Thanks, Sneaky. Alrighty. So we just make the inside of the the top edge of the eye black, or near to for now. How many of us here are brush lickers? I try to do it as little as possible. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. From eating your paint. Dang. It's a heartbreak. Yeah. Actually, I had one yesterday. I'm glad it wasn't too bad. Now I'm feeling okay today. Let's just do an early preview of where the eyes are gonna be. So, So most of this line here will end up getting painted over. This is just to help me get an idea so I can get them right and the right size. Yeah, this is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 0 miniature. This one's a nice new one. This tip is really good. Hello, Sebs. Really weird looking eyes there, but let's start putting in some background color. Okay. Wow. How many people here are from Instagram, and who's from the GG Discord? GG's winning so far. Hi, Sammy. Why isn't the paint working? It's going to move up a little bit. Okay. Wow, thanks Lee. Incredible. This brush is really not as good as I'd hoped it would be. It's pretty new, but it's not giving me... Wow. This is all very new to me, so I think I did make the notification a bit louder when that happens, so I'll keep an ear out for that, because that's amazing. I didn't even expect anything like that. No, my God. I think the best bit of the stream will be at the end when we're discussing the older stuff as well. I haven't looked in the Discord for a bit. Did Bruce put an announcement out? Let's try making this a bit more paint and a bit more liquid, because it's just not working. Ah, thanks Bruce. Legendary. At the bottom of the eye. Oof. I'm gonna have to change brushes. This one is just not working for me. Goodbye. What is this? Sorry for the back of my head for a second there, if that was what it was on the camera. So now we've got a regular 00. This is a brush here, Winsor & Newton. Got a bit of a longer body, can reach into the eyeball a bit better, hopefully. Like, look at that nasty eye. Yeah, I've still got the photo of it. It was awesome. Great to see the chat so active, I can barely keep up. Every time I look over there, the screen's just jumped ahead a whole bunch. So anyone who's come more recently got any ideas or suggestions for what colour eyes they'd like to see? She's going to have a green shirt. She's a wood elf version of Skadi. At the moment it's kind of a toss-up for me between violet and sort of olive yellow, green, bright green to yellow. Haven't fully decided. It's not going to be orange JC. Brushes. Anyone else find that like when they get a brand new brush, it is just not as good as maybe after it's been worn in by about 15 to 20%, maybe 30%. It's like they have this best shelf life that's between 15% and I don't know, 80% when they're the best. Look at that Dicky Bird bit. I wonder if I can peel that out. Wow, there seems to be quite a lot of subs coming through, if I understand correctly. That's pretty amazing. Gonna make some pinker. Section for the shadows of the eyes. "15 minutes left of painting and then I'll jump over." Oh my god, what the hell? That looked green to me. Whoa. I don't know what that means, but it made a big sound, so thanks. Pretty cool. Brr. I'm tempted to reach for one of my old faithful brushes. No, that's working better now. Fave music to paint to. I don't paint to music, not really. When I need to zen out, I either audiobook or just thank you so much to everyone who's supported like that. That's just unbelievable. That's gonna do it what we want. And there it goes for the second time. Is it? Yep. I'll try and figure out how to prevent that from happening. I just don't know why it is. So the whites of the eyes are still quite dark. We're definitely going to not leave it that way. Phew. egg rays. My wet palette is just baking paper. It's like a $2 container from Safeway, and I put paper towel underneath. It's just straight up whatchamacallit, a bootleg wet palette, but I've tried all the good ones. I've tried Masterson, I've tried Red Grass, I've tried another one, can't think of the name right now, but that was a long time ago. It's just a bootleg wet palette, costs like $3 or $4 or $5. But yeah, it's the best way to fly, the only way to fly. I like the way the paint sort of just beads on the wet palette, and I've just gotten so used to using it like this that I just can't switch from it now. I've tried, and because this one can last for weeks. Oof. And I use a very specific baking paper too. Like I've tried a lot of different ones, but the one I like the most is the Aldi. Yeah, I mean, all the papers will do that if you overwork the area that you're picking up the paint from. I think, like if I was to just go and rub the paper, no matter which type of paper you're going to use, it's going to break down. I've noticed that on every type, so you've got to try and move on to a new area rather than using the same area over and over and over again for the whole project. That's the Goliath brand one. I buy it in the 90-meter rolls. I've gone through the. I haven't found that. It's all about how hard you press the brush into the paper. Look, I'm just going back to Old Faithful. Where are they? Not that one. There. This is my Old Faithful eyeball brush. Where are you, camera? Size 2 miniature. This one is the bomb. Even when you're not being too rough, it still will wear out a little bit. They usually do put fibres into the brush, but if you're using paper towel to wipe your brush on as well, you can be picking up fibres from that as well. I use microfiber cloths. Focus up. Oh yeah, look at this brush. Thank you for following. Even this brush is not wanting to with me tonight. Hello, Smelly. Welcome. Yeah, it's still definitely better. Why is that out of focus? What's going on? It's okay. It's going to do for the establishment of the whites for now. Still a lot more work to do on those later on. Get a bit of a purple pigment, and then I think her left eye needs to come a bit more this way. Hello, Smelly. I'm not sure if I said hello yet. No, I've never fallen asleep painting like this. It's just raw focus and comfort. Yep, so we've got to move the eyeball. I hope that was on the screen, then I might have been in the wrong place. It's a little bit off. There we go. So we just need to cut into the side there a bit. So I feel like I'm ready to do have a look at some other works stuff. Has everyone seen enough painting for now? Wow. That's rather like more than I had expected. Alright, well, we've got such a big number. I'm going to pick up some older stuff to show off on video. So I'll start off with some whips that I haven't shown anywhere before. Let's see how they'll, well, let's just go to this. So here is a thank you for the subscription, Smelly. This one's Froggy Boy from it's a bit of a conversion, the face, and he's got a partner that goes with him. Let's just, but this one's still going to be a long way off finishing because yeah, I definitely will, but I actually don't think this is going to be good enough for Golden Demon, so it'll be put on hold until after. And both of them don't really have their backs. They're both pretty nice, so I'm fairly happy with those. Another one, this is one that I I definitely won't be finishing it off in its original form. This is a witch hunter that was going to be fighting a Skaven. And I'm just not happy. I mentioned this in a recent GG podcast. This is the one that's fighting against the Skaven who sits up on like the edge of the gate. But this one is I think this model itself is actually pretty good. And so I might finish this off as a single figure. I'll just have to redesign a base for him. But considering I never really show whips until I finish, there's some decent previews to show. And this is the only place that I guess anyone's ever going to see him. And then a Tomb Kings one. This is meant to be part of a diorama, and he's going to be standing on the head of a zombie dragon. He'll be standing like. It's a Forge World Tomb King model, yeah. Always love the old world stuff. So those are all work in progress ones. Then I'll give a quick show of this Sculpt, which is the model I'll be using, sculpted by me and Scott. We'll be using this guy for the class it guilds in later this year. So it'll be just for the class. Made with very particular design ideas. Is that Bruce's Get Good? Thanks, Bruce. Anyway, this is nothing special, but it'll be used for the class. Now, we'll go on to something that's finished, which is this Broken Sword bust by Hugo. It's a 4-hour class at Guilds Inn. And so I'm going to point to a few areas in this one, go over some of the things that I like the most about it. My first try. Next stream will probably be, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll announce it. I was thinking weekly to start off with, but then I want to see how this one goes and then see how well I recover from it. Yeah, so the light comes from differential in sheen. I'll show that off better on other models, but you paint the satin into the satin or gloss into the highlights, and it really makes it shine on certain angles, and then when you pull away it becomes less bright, and so you've also got that in some areas of the skin and in the hair. And then one of the areas that I'm most fond or happy about that I think no one ever really looks at, like this shoulder, the work I've done here is, I think, some of my best work. It's got the cast shadow of the blade here, but just look carefully as I turn the arm. So here the light is quite, bright coming from the front, and then you start to get to the shadow. And the transition of the sheen shifts as it moves, and so as you get to here, you're getting almost a subsurface scattering look through the look of the skin as it moves, and even like when you're right on this shadow here, it doesn't look quite out of place as you turn around to the back, and you see how when you get the sheen and the positioning of the way that the colors move as you move it. You'll never see this in photos, but this is something that I obsess over, is how it looks as it turns and twists like this. One of the first times that I really got the feel of that subsurface light transmission as well as I could, I think, at the time. It's in the face as well, like if the light is coming from this angle, and then when you turn the face, it shifts a bit. I'm not sure if this, it's a bit, the contrast on the camera here is a bit more than I think it is in person. It's a bit more subtle in person. Alright. Let's move on to the next one. Now this is going to be tricky because I can't fit it all in the screen because I can't go back far enough with the model, or else it'll just like run into the desk. So I'm going to have to sort of like focus on the base and the model a little bit differently, so I apologize about that. It's the best I can do with having the camera set up so precisely for painting. And I want to focus on that varnish and satin sheen thing in this as well. Like, watch the helmet as it turns. As the sheen starts to catch the light. Right there. It doesn't look so much. We're looking right here at the moment. And then as you go further, pow, you get the white. But it's not quite white, that's just verdigris. And then you get the little dark line that's a little bit more matte. And then it comes back to the highlight there, and then when we come back to this angle over here, it looks quite dark. Chest plate, alright. It's got the same effect in the chest plate as well. See how the light sort of moves when you change the angle. Ooh, get back in focus, you. Ooh. Alright, and yeah, the scales were pretty crazy. And the base, which you just don't get a good look at in the photos because the perspective of the camera just really cuts out a lot of what you can see. The idea to use the sheen in that way, because it's only really relevant to in-person viewing or in videos like this, because you don't see it in photos. I think it's something that just doesn't come to mind so readily, but it is another form of contrast, and it's super powerful, especially the way that we look at miniatures. And you know, if you can control the way that people see things as it moves, it's just, why would you not want to take advantage of that? There's another area I can show it off as well. So we talked about this in the podcast where the post crimson brush one. So look at this area here. Now it's still highlighted, but as you turn it, it gets brighter. And some dust to pick up. And then as we turn further, it gets darker again. And then there's a little bit of satin there too. But you've got to be really careful not to overdo it with this stuff, because if the satin is too much in an area where it's dark, it just looks icky. There's more of the satin down here as well. We've got the same sort of effect. Watch how the ooh, uh-oh. Oh well, the YouTube video just got cut off early because I've run out of disk space. Let me see if I can quickly... I can't do it right now. Yep, so... you guys are the only ones who get to see this. It won't be on the YouTube video, which is a shame, but oh well. So just have a look at the way the color comes in and out as that turns. It's partly to do with the satin. Scale by scale, they're all slightly different. It's very time consuming. Oh yeah. Yep, DC. I really did get sick of scales so badly, especially because I've done them on a bust and then this. it's interesting to see it on the screen on video. Alright, so I think that's enough of this one. I'll have to record the ghost boat for YouTube separately. Oh well, now we get the ghost. And this one's going to be tricky to fit in the screen as well. So let's just focus on this part. You can see like through the transparency on the edges. Yeah, I did the front and the back separately by a month. Yep, I did the whole rest of, like I did the front of the model, then I did the whole rest of the back, and then I came back and did the scales. No, not so much. Not so much stipples on the scales. It's more like little tiny lines, which almost counts as stippling. Yeah, I can try and do this. Ooh. Wonder what will happen. It's not really doing anything. Too much light. If we go this way. Anyway, that's enough focusing on the base. Yeah, so it's not so much colors. It's being glazed in. It's more just very specific choices of where to place the colors for each area, but there was a lot of colors within the scales and the armor. It doesn't really look like it until you look really closely. I can bring it back again because this one isn't as interesting after you've seen it for a bit. Top down, interesting view. But yeah, I painted the ghost boat on this one. I mean, in May 2024. So the boat itself has come a long way as a painter since then. But I'm quite proud of how well it just sort of integrates from the plastic to the clear resin part. Because like all this here is plastic, then clear resin. You can't really tell where the transition is back here and down under there as well, and this guy as well. This ghost, it was really hard to balance that. It's 3D printed. I sculpted it digitally, so I scanned the model in with photogrammetry and then sculpted the smoke using ZBrush and Blender around the photogrammetry scanned parts, and then I printed it out in 4 sections and then joined those sections using UV resin. It was printed in clear resin and polished up to be like a super smooth, clean, clear finish, like water almost, and then I painted the inside and then the outside so you can sort of see some of the transparent depth effect. But yeah, my eye can see so much more light like moving through it than we can on camera. No, it had to be in 4 parts because these plastic bits, they actually go down into it quite deeply, and in order to assemble the thing. I had to you know, have this section clamped this side, then I had to have the circle in the middle, then I had to have like a pie section here that slotted in, and then this section that came from this side. So that there's a section here, there's a pie section there, there's a circle section in the middle, and then this whole back bit. Thank you very much, Neon Duck. It's amazing. So yeah, that's the ghost boat. I have something at hand to reach, but some of you might remember, which I thought I should show today, because you might remember the Eidolon and Mathlon's wave that just greened out. I've always been interested in trying fancy things with resin, and oh geez, this went yellow. Look how bad it looks. I should finish this someday, but I just got so disheartened when this happened, because it's just otherwise pretty much perfect. But yeah, I probably will still finish it someday. Who knows? Maybe not. And I was planning on showing the Minotaur today, but I tried. I spent the day trying to get it assembled, and whoops, just couldn't get it assembled in time. So here's a base for something that I'm working on at the moment. This is for a grey sea. I'll probably finish this next, because I just need to get in the groove of painting Warhammer. There's meant to be a dead rat with an arrow in it here. Yep, definitely. I've found some resins and tested them that won't yellow now. Because I'm planning to come to Golden Demon in Essen 2027, and starting to work, get everything prepared for that next year now. Yeah, so it's going to be all GW all the time from here on out for the next year and a half, just so that I can prepare for that. Well, that's everything I've got within reach. I'll bring the Swordmaster back, because there's still some more questions about that. For sure. So let's move in real close on the scales and just have a look at the colours. So you've got some violet sort of blues over here, and the same colours over here, and that the value goes brighter as you get closer to the torso, because you want the eye to run up with the value. So that's why the scales down here, there's a thinner area of bright value down here that moves up slowly, and then see how there's more near white in this area. Same here, and the overall effect is a triangle that pushes you up that way. And I don't know if everyone saw it, but there is a little bit of a, we've got like green, purple, pink, blue, yellow, and then blue, black, yellow. That's raw umber down there. I'll have to look into that, Mitchell. I definitely will look into that, because if I can make it come back, that would be amazing. And then even in the helmet, you've got like blue, all of the highlights are different tones. So you've got like this this area here, I believe, is pastel green, and then this area here is ghost green. This one. And then this is highlighted with verdigris and I think some white. Hey Flapjack, well, we're getting close to running down time. Now, definitely, I've got some other stuff that yellowed as well when I did some testing. Yeah, I'm sort of blown away by that many people being on. It's a serious bummer that the second, well, the end of the YouTube video is going to cut out on the VOD, but oh well. Anyone got any questions? We're a little bit early. I did intend to go to 10, but it feels like we've sort of wrapped up and I've gone through everything that I can get to within hand. I'm glad everyone's been enjoying me talking and covering everything. I can just bring back the toad again for one last second. When do I know I'm done? No, the druid. I'm sorry. It's a long gone. That's at Dijan's house. I wonder if he's on. He did get the link off from me, but yeah, he might be just lurking in the chat. How long do I spend sketching and refining? Well, sketching, I kind of like go, I don't sketch so much, I go straight to, I'll pick up the one that I'm working on to sort of explain this. So in the images I was sharing, I went pretty straight from sketching to this stage, and then I will refine. So I mean, I suppose you can say I did that first sketch in probably 4 hours of painting, and then there was another hour on this to get it to this point here, which is, you know, not that much progress. I was thinking I was going to paint this model all on stream, but I don't think that's going to be realistic because I'll just never finish it if I'm going at this pace. So I'll stagger things a little bit. So before the next stream, I'll get a lot of the refining done on the face, and we can talk about how it's changed between now and then. But yeah, so it's probably 30% on the sketch phase and then 70% more to refining. And I'll paint this up into about 90% finished. And then once it gets to 90% finished, I'll move on to the other parts of the model. So there's still that 10% of wiggle room at the end, which is used to integrate everything with the rest of the model. Sometimes it won't need that much change and it will be more like it was like 98% finished of what I imagined, but yeah. Sweet. I don't know if it will end up being full on weekly, but this has been pretty good. I can't complain. I mean, I'm flabbergasted that there's been that many people on the stream. I think we're going to probably start winding down. I will probably move to Sundays though, so it won't just be people missing out at work. So it'd be the same time, but yeah, I probably will move to Sunday. So that means the next stream probably will be not the coming Sunday, but the Sunday after that. I'll announce on socials and also put the schedule in Twitch as well. But yeah, I'll announce. Now, Sunday's fine, and I prefer that be able to get more people to come and have a look, so that they're not missing out from work. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been great to see the chat going and all those notifications buzzing. Toby, I will upload it to YouTube, but unfortunately it seems my hard drive ran out of space at about the hour 30 mark, so the last half an hour will have been missing. That's really unfortunate. I didn't realise it was nearly close to full, so that's a bummer. But I will put up the first 3/4 or wherever it stopped. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been awesome. Way better than I could have expected. Oh, no. Maybe I can just chuck that on. Thanks for the suggestion, Leeloth. I'll definitely see if I can download that and just chuck it on the end. Alright, I'm logging out now, everyone. I'll leave the chat open for a little